Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Jason Hardy, Elite Barbecue Smokers, and we Barbecue Roundtable. We got some pretty cool guests on tonight. We have a good time talking about a lot of awesome things. So if y'all watching, please make sure you leave a comment down below. Got any questions, ask them. We're gonna be here to help you out. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So before we get started, anything else, we'll bring some guests on right here. We got Mr. Brian right here. How you
What's
doing,
going
sir?
on?
And we got Mr. Justin right here. Let's do a little shuffling around. How y'all doing tonight?
Very good. How are you?
Man, I am blessed beyond belief. Truly am. We have got had a good time this weekend. Um, met some people I haven't seen since your contest last year. So I think we've been very happy and blessed to have all that. Justin's down here and he's had a little bit of a flaky internet lately. So if he goes in and out on us, he's working on that. So just let y'all know that. Um, but first off, I want to say thank y'all for showing up here. Again, if you got any questions, comments, leave them down below. Um, we're going to be based talking about some barbecue, talking about competitions, talking about the history how we got into barbecue, and the things we do for the community. That's kind of what we're doing tonight. So we've got a few comments right here. What's up, Kent? How you doing, sir? Mr. Dean, good to hear you. Good to see you, I should say. Um, so introduce ourselves a little bit. Mr. Brian, introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? I'm Brian Jarvis, the Atlanta Barbecue Store. Um, do a show, Chew the Barbecue Fat. What else do you want me to say? I don't know. This is really strange for me being on this side of the interviewee, being interviewed. So it's pretty awesome. Um, been cooking barbecue for a long time and do barbecue shows and just love barbecue as it is. So
Y'all that don't know Brian, he has a show on Monday nights, 9 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, and it's Chewing the Barbecue Fat. He's also on Facebook and YouTube. So information is in the description on YouTube down here. If y'all on Facebook, make sure you go subscribe to his YouTube channel
please.
because we are all of us, I think, are trying to get the YouTube side of the equation going a little more because it's something that we can control a little more, and it's always out there. One of the things we found out with Facebook is it's out there, but it's very hard to find it. So if you want to go through past episodes and stuff, make sure you go out there and check it out. In addition to that, Elite Barbecue Smokers Barbecue Roundtable has got the playlist for all our live streams are now podcasts. So you can go to YouTube Music and you can go in there and you can hear all those previous things as a podcast. Brian, it might be something you'll do yours too.
Yeah, sounds. I need to do that.
Go in there and set it up as a podcast, and it's on YouTube Music. So if you can't watch it live, you want to go watch some old videos, check that out. That'll be greatly appreciated of everybody.
Yeah.
Um, so we've got that now. Brian's got a show, like I said, on Monday night, and he brings in a lot of who's who of barbecue. Um, he's got people in there and have been winning contests, and you support a lot of good people. So tell us a little bit about your show, kind of last night, about who all you have in your show, and a little bit of a kind of a summary of your show a little bit last night.
So we try to get at winners of the previous contest. So last night we had Jordan Kirkpatrick with a janky leg. He won the Marion, Arkansas contest. Then we had Brad Leininger with Getting Basted on, and he won the Texas contest. I don't remember exactly the name of it, but he won the contest in Texas. And then we had Adam Dawkins with Bad Rooster on. And then I was on, of course, and I was able to get David going with Kith and Kin, one of our friends, one of our sponsor teams. He said, "Hey, you want me to come on and interview?" I was like, "Sure, why not? That'd be fun for me. Practice for tonight's show." And it was a great show. We just got in. I mean, I don't know if you watched it, but we got into a lot of fun stuff. We got into contest, and then we kind of got into organizers and what organizers are trying to do, and what to make barbecue better, competition barbecue better for everybody, for the organizers, for the cook teams, for the judges, everything. And what can we do to make this sport that we all love, this hobby that we love, last and continue to go. And that's our focus. Our focus over there on Chew the Barbecue Fat is a lot like this, right? Just get on there and I say we just got to learn to chew the fat about barbecue. You know, it's as cheesy as it is, but that's what we do. We just sit down and talk and have a good time and talk about barbecue, what we all love and our passions and everything else. So I thought it was a really good show. So if you missed last night's show, go back and watch it.
It was a good show. I was watching it last night. It was a very good show. And that's one of the things that we kind of like to do on both our shows, but we like to kind of get everybody out there and understand we are talking with a lot of people about competition barbecue. And the reason for that is kind of that's who we interact with a lot. A lot of times we get here more to YouTube side. What we found out here is a lot of guys watching right now on YouTube side are people that don't compete a lot. I know Kent with Daddy Dutch competes a little bit, and everybody don't. But understand this: we all started as not competition barbecue. We started cooking somewhere, and we kind of progressed got into really hooked into it, and got into competition side of it. And that's a really good lead up to a question I'd like to ask everybody. But before we do that, just introduce yourself.
Justin Holt, Holt Brothers Barbecue, obviously having some fun internet issues today.
We all
So
been there.
it usually helps to restart your computer once, like every month. Just, I mean, I'm on my computer all day for work and all night usually too. So I'm just like, oh, I'll restart tomorrow or next week, and here's the problems that happen from that. But yeah, good to see everybody tonight.
Justin, my show is called the Dollar General Show Barbecue. I'm always having issues. Don't feel bad, buddy.
We always all been through that. So Brian, I don't think you really. I think your show has got covered a lot of, but for focus on you as a guest is like you said, it's not something you've been doing a lot of. So tell us a little bit of the background of how you started cooking. Did you grow up cooking, or some of your background before you really got at the competition side of it?
Man, let's see. Growing up, I always loved watching Food Network. I mean, I would I'd sit down when my dad did a lot of the cooking as I was growing up, and we would cook, and we didn't do anything fancy. We just cooked your normal dinners. But I loved watching Emeril Lagasse growing up. I loved watching Iron Chef. I loved watching all those shows on Food Network, and so cooking has always been something I love to do. And I didn't know I had a passion for it. But I never cooked anything. I never smoked anything. I never got into grilling or any of that kind of stuff. But I had a good friend of mine bought a Komodo Joe, and he's like, Brian, you got to get one of these things. They're awesome, because I had a gas grill, right? Just that's what we cooked on. And if anybody knows me, everything I do over the top. I don't do anything just try to get something for. So I went out and I looked at these Komodo Joes, and I was like, man, those things aren't big enough or a Big Green Egg or any of them. I was like, they're not big enough to do anything with. You can't cook much of anything on them. Then I was like, oh, this Primo XL, it was the big oval shape one. I was like, man, that's a little bit bigger, but it's still not big enough to do anything. So I started doing what everybody does, searching the internet, and I came across Lang Barbecue Smokers, and man, I'll never forget that. I'd be upstairs looking at it, and that song would come on, cooking on a link, whatever, and I was just watching that over and over and over again, just dreaming about it. And I ended up buying a Lang 60 Deluxe. It was the first smoker I ever bought. The first thing I ever I'm buying all this stuff. I bought all this thing. I was like, man, this is awesome. And through the Lang searches and YouTube, competition barbecue came up. So throughout all this, and then I became a member of the Barbecue Brethren. If anybody remembers the Barbecue Brethren,
yep.
And I met a guy local, Jason Bishop, Tenacious Q. He lived in Buford. I just messaged him, like, hey dude, I live in Buford. You live in Buford. What the heck is all this competition barbecue stuff all about? And we just struck up friendship, and I didn't realize it, but at that time it was like, man, barbecue people are just good people that are out to help everybody and out to and grow our community and be there for each other. It's a great community. If you're not part of the competition barbecue, I get it, but if you ever join in, it's something that you won't believe. Barbecue family is a real thing. But anyway, so he got me involved, and there was a contest called the National Barbecue Cup in Cumming, Georgia in November. And I signed up for it. And during all that time, I met a couple other guys, but sorry. I go cook it. Oh, well, I do a practice cook on my Lang 60. And the first time I ever smoked anything, I cooked 2 briskets, six butts, 6 racks of ribs, and 24 chicken thighs.
Damn,
was
you're
the first thing
deep
I
dive.
ever cooked, right? Because I was practicing for competition.
Wow.
So that was my very first exposure to competition barbecue or cooking, smoking, anything. So, and I did the Danny Kugel up and smoke videos and all that kind of stuff back in the day. If any of y'all remember that, it was great. But yeah, that's what then I go out and cook this contest. I met Jonathan Timmons, great dude. So I'm going through my awards. I mean, we go through awards. I didn't get a call. I was like, oh, that stinks, man. I didn't really expect it first time out. There was 80 something teams at this thing of the who's who of barbecue.
That was a triple header, wasn't it?
Well, it wasn't. It was before the triple. It was back before the triple. But man, I tell you what, I got through it. I started at the back, right? I started at the bottom, trying to. I was like, dude, my name is not on here. I am nowhere on here. I don't know where my team is. I ended up finishing 11th place on it, right? So I didn't go for it. Like I didn't look in the front page because I was for sure thought I was on the third or fourth page.
Wow.
And everybody started telling me like I beat a lot of really good teams that day, and I was like, man, this was pretty cool. Had a blast. Was totally exhausted. Cooked under 2 tents. Brought everything I owned. Went out and bought everything. I mean, everybody knows their first contest. They go out and they have more than they'll ever use in competition barbecue forever.
Yeah, 2 seasons worth in one contest.
For sure. And man, and after that I was hooked. Started cooking more and more. Then we went to Young Harris. That was a blast. That was a great contest. Brasstown Valley Resort. But then I just got hooked. And then I got to meet. And then, I mean, you want me to keep going with my story or what? Or just stay there?
Yeah, man. I want to hear it.
So then we keep cooking. We're getting some calls. We're doing okay. Got to know Randy Boswell, one of my buddies. We were cooking, and then all of a sudden he started the Atlanta Barbecue Store. And through him starting at the Atlanta Barbecue Store, I became friends with him. He found out all kind of information, and he would help me because I didn't cook enough, and I wasn't much of a guy that was going to compete a lot. He didn't have to worry about me, right? And that was back when nobody shared any information. But we became friends. And if y'all remember Randy, he was either all in or all out, and he got tired of barbecue, and he got tired of it, and he knew that I wanted to have a barbecue store, do something with it. Ellen had just talked to me about going back to work. Found out about 2 days later that she was pregnant with Sarah, and she wasn't going to be able to go back to work. So she's like, I want to do something. So 5 years ago in March, I bought the Atlanta Barbecue Store from Randy Boswell, and at the time, Randy he had gotten rid of a lot of his inventory, and he was moving on to other passions of his. So his store had become it was not what it was at one time, but I knew it was a good thing. I knew it was a great store. It was local. There weren't a gazillion barbecue stores at the time like there is now. Mm-hmm. So I was like, this would be a good opportunity. Ellen's wanting to do something. And I told her, I was like, it's a job. It's just something to do. And it keeps you talking to people and everything else. So we took over the barbecue store and we wanted to make it be the best barbecue store out there. And we're not there yet. We're still working. We're still working hard, but we're trying our hardest. And Ellen I would put up Ellen against anybody in our industry. There is not better customer service than you're going to get at Atlanta Barbecue Store. There's not better. I mean, our selection is there. We have everything. We have enough for the steak people. We have stuff for the barbecue person. We have some for the guy at home looking to buy and go cook on the weekend. I'd put our inventory, our selection up against anybody. We do not have a storefront, but one day that is a goal of ours. But it's going to be hard to do with baseball and kids and everything else. So that's going to be down the road a little bit. But then I got into cooking.
Okay, let me jump in here a second here. Everybody's been watching the videos we do online. Everything I use in the videos comes from Atlanta Barbecue Store. They have everything out there that you want for competition barbecue or cooking at home. Yep. You do not have to do competition barbecue to get stuff from them. They've got an awesome selection. Let's just go out there and just experiment and try new flavors and stuff. So anytime you're looking for somebody to go find some rubs and find some sauces or whatever, go to Land Barbecue Store. And if you, any of my videos got a link to their website, it's got all the links to that stuff. So go check that out. And also, if you want to come out there and be part of the barbecue family, not compete, come out to contest and just volunteer. Just come out there and be part of it. Volunteer. You can help with the judging. You can help with the teams. I mean, I had somebody help me this weekend, just help run boxes this weekend. So, I mean, anytime you want to be part of it, just come out and reach out to us if we can. I'd be more than happy to be part of it because I want y'all to have a passion for barbecue as much as we do. That's the whole purpose of the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Wasn't trying to interrupt you there, but that's kind of a good little point I wanted to put in there.
And if I can add that you can't get faster shipping anywhere in the Southeast.
That's
I literally have ordered stuff and it's there the day after, basically not the next day, but it will be here the day after that. So it blows my mind sometimes how quick it's out the door and at my doorstep. So thank you.
Ellen takes pride in it. I mean, everybody thinks I'm a Land Barbecue Store. I'm not. I'm just the face of it. I'm the cook and I'm the barbecue show guy. Ellen is the barbecue store. And she does an incredible job. Like I said, there is nobody better than Ellen Jarvis when it comes to the barbecue world. So that's just my take on it. And I'm blessed that she's my beautiful bride, and I love that. But and I appreciate that, guys. Y'all are awesome, and thank you for pushing us and everything else.
We do it. We got a question out here from Lewis Trippermaster here. And so he's got a good question here about what's the benefits of a reverse flow versus a standard offset. The Lang, if I'm not mistaken, is a reverse flow smoker.
Yep.
And you've also had a Jambo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So from a firsthand perspective, talk about the difference between the two of them.
Okay. So if you've ever listened to me talk on anything, airflow is key. If you've ever listened to any pit master that is worth a grain of salt, they know anything about airflow on their smokers, right? Like it's something that you talk about all the time is you have to know your airflow of the smoker that you have. So a reverse flow has the plate on the bottom that goes all the way across. The air goes through the bottom, up the stack, and comes back around and out the exhaust. Whereas a Jambo, Outlaw, just your normal offset, it's coming up and more down and over. So it's a complete different airflow. You got heat coming on a reverse flow. That plate on the bottom gets hot, so it's putting off more radiant heat. Whereas the top, you got more convection coming in with the airflow and everything else. So to say, is there a benefit? On a reverse flow, in my opinion, there's more hot spots, cool spots, ways that you can move the meat around and cook at different temperatures inside your cook chamber. And I think that is a benefit, and it's also a hindrance. Depends on what you're doing with it. Just your standard offset, as long as you get a quality built offset, you're going to have more of an even. You still have hot spots. You still have hot spots and everything else, but it's more of an even cook. It's an even flow. The airflow, I'm not going to say it's more consistent because the reverse flow is consistent also, but it's different. It's a different airflow. And to me, I love the reverse flow for the Lang, where you put your fat down there, you put the fat cap down, that fat comes down and it drips on that plate and you hear it sizzling up. Same thing that I'm looking for on a drum, right? It's sizzling and it's letting that fat come down, hit that hot plate, and then it comes back and sizzles up and flavors the meat. Where you don't necessarily get that in a just your normal offset. Your offset is going to be a Cadillac. It's going to be a smooth sailing smoker. Throw it in. They're very, very efficient, and you don't have to work them as much. That's been my take.
One thing about a stick burner and a non-reverse flow stick burner is it's very critical when you're doing it to stagger your meat, because if you put a huge meat on one side of the firebox, it's going to pretty much create a dam. And what that does is like if you do NASCAR and you got airflow going across NASCAR, if you have a car behind it that's got no air and it's just kind of sucking up behind it, it's going to slow that cook down because it's going to go over top of it, underneath the bottom of it. So anytime you start cooking on a stick burner like that, you need to make sure you kind of take in consideration your air's going to go in one side and out the other side, so it's going to go up and over. My experiences with a reverse flow is when you're doing a little bit lower and slower cook, kind of an old school low and slow cook. I think the reverse flow, because the heat comes across the bottom and cooks from the bottom and then comes across the top and also kind of cooks at the top. I think it got an even cook for a low and slow cook. I think when you're doing a hot and fast, from my experience, that's where you really start showcasing those hot and cold spots. Would you agree with that, Brian?
100%. Yeah. I mean, now there's also a lot of benefits to what you're saying, right? Like, I mean, you can put if something's behind, you can throw the meat over there and put it right next to the firebox, and you're gonna heat it up really, really quick. You got to be careful because you'll burn the crap out of it. But yes, I'm gonna say you're the Jambos, the Outlaws, the Yoders, the big name standard stick burners, offsets. They like to cook hot and fat. They like to cook at 300, right? My Lang loved to cook at 250, right? I mean, that was the difference. I mean, you got to find what you're. I mean, like I said at the beginning of that, you got to find your airflow, know what kind of cooking you're trying to do. What are you trying to accomplish cooking? And go find a smoker that's going to fit that need, because there are smokers all over the place that can fit all types of.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about it is one thing is a good idea to always do is let your smoke find out what your smoker wants to do. Find out what to add to your smoker is. If you got a Gateway drums, they want 300 degrees. If you try to do anything other than that, you're gonna be chasing your tail.
Yeah.
But they want to run that. Whereas, like you're saying, you got a Lang, it wants to run at 250 degrees. If you try to do more than that, then you can go through a lot of wood and do a lot of stuff. So anything you're cooking on, I'm not talking about gas grills or pellet grills. Those kind of are their own little deals right now. But I'm talking about just charcoal, wood fire grills. They find out what they want to do, and then make sure you can take your process and use it for that what it wants to do. When you start trying to force them, then you start making it hard on both of you.
Yep, you're gonna jump all over the place, up and down, up and down.
I mean, you found that out with your 270, hadn't you, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, I've pretty much got it marked now where I can dial that thing in to actually 270, and that's where it likes to cook. If you get hotter than that, it's gonna, you got to keep a water pan in there. That water pan's gonna get empty and it's gonna jump all over the place. But if you're leveling it out like that, I mean, it'll sit there and sit. The last cook that we did with it, which was 2 weeks ago, I mean, it probably sat at 270 for 7 hours, and that was with me opening the door and spraying and doing stuff, like it's level right back up to that temperature again. But that's where it likes to cook, like my drums, they're 325 pretty much each. That's just where they dial in at, so I've had to adjust my cook a little bit for a little bit hotter and faster than what I was expecting to cook with them. That's just where they like to be, that's where they burn the best.
Have y'all for the drums cookers, and before we do that, Justin, you had a question that you emailed Brian earlier. I really want to know the answer to this question.
Yep, we all know the answer to this
question.
You
emailed me? Did I get it?
Yeah. So, how many drums do you think you have cooked on? Brand new. And any insider is going to know why I asked that question for Brian.
That is a great question. I think a better question is how many drums have I cooked on more than once?
That's probably, yeah.
Oh man, so that's a good question. We've been
get the backstory, Brian. Tell the backstory first.
Wow, that's incredible.
Probably about 60 drums. All right, so we are a gateway drum dealer. I love them. I cook on a new drum every contest. I cook on 4 new drums every contest, and the goal is to sell them after every contest. And I've been pretty successful doing that for most of our contests. So yeah, we and it all started with the Jambo. I cook out of a fifth wheel toy hauler, and I was in Cumming, Georgia, and the battery to the winch got disconnected, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to get this Jambo back up in the top of my anyway. Jeez. So when I was like, if I ever get this thing back in my RV, and once I get it out, I'm not ever doing this again. I'm going to, and I have this thing that I feel like Georgia or the Southeast, is about 1.5 to 2 years behind what's going on in the Midwest. So if you look at any of the trends happening in the Midwest, it takes about 1.5 years for it to come down to Georgia. So I noticed out of the Royal and everything else, I was like, man, there are cans everywhere. I want to get in on this. Let's see if we, and it was way easier to manipulate and put them in and out of the RV. Heck, we went with that Brasstown Valley Resort. The last year they had it, I had 4 drums sitting on the back porch, and I was sitting in rocking chairs watching it snow on 4 drums. It was amazing. It was awesome. I couldn't do that anywhere else. But yeah, if you're not cooking on a new drum every contest, you're not doing something right. Or at least a one-time season one that you better get from me. I mean, I look around, I'm like, man, there's a lot of these drums that I've cooked on in the past. I see John Thatcher's on here. He got 4 more from me, or 2 more from me at the last contest.
Yep.
So, yeah, I would probably say, because I say I cook maybe 8 contests a year, maybe, and I've been doing it for about 3 years. So yeah,
that math adds up.
Yeah, so it's been pretty good. Every drum in Southeast came. Yeah, Derek's got some. Adam's got a couple. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I tell you, man, the drums are great units. Go ahead, Brian.
I was just saying, I mean, it's kind of where our barbecue has gone to. And I'll be honest with you, I love my Jambo. I loved it. And if I were to ever get another one, I'd probably get an Outlaw because I think Jay is a great dude and I love what he's doing for barbecue. But my score, I think I've become a better cook on cans. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. But I do think cans are the way to go. You guys do more barbecue competitions? I just do the most all the time. Keep the energy up. Yep. So I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of going on in barbecue. A lot's changing in barbecue. Mm-hmm. I know when I first started, Jason, probably the same way with you, Justin, you too. Everything was low and slow. Everything was gravity feds. Everything was, I remember backwoods were everywhere when I got into barbecue. There was backwoods everywhere. And then you had gravity feds take over, and then you had every once in a while you see some crazy dude cooking on a can. You're like, man, what is that guy doing? And then it was just like and it has changed. I mean, it has changed a lot in the past. 5 years. It's changed a lot. I don't know. Have you seen that?
Absolutely. I think every single contest that I've done in the last 2 years, I've seen at least 2 teams have either added cans or switched to cans from whatever they were cooking on. And that is consistent all the way across. Even people that I didn't think would ever add one to their collection, they throw 1 or 2 in there, for chicken or something.
And now you're seeing another change. You're seeing everybody having. I mean, you look at my site. I got 4 drums and a Recteq. You're seeing more and more pellet smokers out there. And like for me, I'm cooking my drum. I cook my brisket now. I put it on the smoker. I put it on the drum, and then once I go to wrap it, it goes straight to the Recteq. There was a show I had at Chewing the Barbecue Fat with Urkel, and it was talking about the texture is just different when it finishes on a pellet grill or a gravity fed or something along those lines. It's just different. It's different heat. It's different airflow that's coming in there, and it affects the way that meat finishes. And I can honestly say I can tell a difference. I've done that the past 2 times cooking brisket, and it's been a big change. But yeah, I think you're seeing more and more. It's like steaks, right? I mean, I remember when SCA got big and everybody's like, oh, steaks are the way to go. You have I'll never forget. It was Andrew Rasmussen and Scott Sauced, Scott Adams.
Yep.
They're like, man, you can go cook a contest. You take a 10x10 tent and 1 smoker or 1 grill and all this stuff. And it's so easy. And I was like, you wait. Barbecue teams are going to get in the middle of that. And they're going to make it to where you got to have multiple smoker or grills. So now as you watch all these SCA guys and they've got 2 or 3 grills, they've got big trailers, they got all kind of stuff. And it's not, we don't ever make anything simple. I don't think.
We want to sleep at night.
But I don't know. I don't do SCA. I've only done 1 SCA event. Justin, I know you do a lot of that. Is that true or is that?
Yeah, you see a whole lot more RVs, a lot more cargo trailers showing up. I bet you 4 years ago you couldn't go to an SCA comp and see somebody that stayed the night before in the parking lot, no matter where it's at. Even if they're just boondocking, and that is definitely the case. I mean, this year at the Worlds, they had almost 100 teams in the RV lot. And that it filled up like right away. So yes, us barbecue guys, we like our equipment. I love cooking a 15-minute steak out of a trailer that I hauled, 1,100 miles one way. It's just, for me, it's easier. Like I feel more organized, more consistent, and I'm not a gigantic fan of standing in a hot parking lot under a tent. Because a lot of the state comps, if you are really pushing on them, they're in the summer and they're in the heat of the summer when you're not going to find barbecue contests around. And I stay more organized when all my stuff's there with me.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and then also they use a lot of product. It's amazing how much product goes on that steak. It's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's kind of weird. Like it's, my steak profile is 6 rubs, and I can't tell you that there's anything I do in KCBS that has 6 rubs in it. Maybe 5, maybe on brisket, but for the most part, my profile is a lot more simple on 4 meats than it is on a steak.
I've seen
So,
some.
Dean, to answer this question right here, we did see pellets about 8 years ago. We had the old mailboxes. I forgot the name of them. Remember old
Fast Eddies?
Fast
Eddies.
Yeah.
Those were the first pellet smokers I remember getting in there, and they come on the scene and they were whipping tail. Butcher's Barbecue was using them for a long time. He might still be using them. So those were coming on the scene back then. And then what happened was they kind of left that and went to the backwoods. Prior to that, it was all the stick burners, the home built stick burners in the sense of that is what got into it. But the Fast Ed was really, I think, was probably that and Southern Q's was some of the first commercial.
Yoder's was out there.
Yeah, Yoder's was out there. And they came onto the scene and stuff here, but
they were high dollar.
Yeah, I mean, but before that time, there was a lot of homemade rigs. And I remember the reason we got into competition barbecue was to sell smokers we were building. That's the reason we first got into it, and we found out that 1-2-man show can't make no money at, so we just started competing.
That's for sure.
So I mean,
that's when you started making the big bucks.
Do what?
That's when you started making the big bucks. Is when you just started competing.
Yeah, we started just competing,
rolling in the money.
But what y'all were talking about before about what Urkel was saying about finishing in drums, Old Colony about 5 years ago was the first ones I really seen do that. They would start on that can, and then him and Smoke Monster. Remember those, Justin?
Yep,
I remember those. They would start on the cans and put it in those cabinet smokers and basically just cut and finish it. And them boys are dangerous. They still are dangerous, but they were dangerous. Honestly, I am not the biggest fan of one meats. We've done some contests, we've organized and stuff. I think that I love the socializing part of barbecue. And I feel like that when we come out there and we can just socialize and enjoy it and relax and then do the competition, I personally like it. Now, for people chasing points and things of that nature, totally get it and totally understand it. But I've done everyone I've ever signed up for that had it because I want to support the contest and do it. But it's not going to make me go or not go to a contest. How about y'all?
I don't think that, everybody says, well, it's great to do that because you can adjust something for, your main cook on Saturday. And I honestly can't say that I would ever do that. If you dial in on something, you're not going to, the chances of you landing with the same judge the next day are just, it's so minuscule that I think you'd be really hurting yourself. Now, if you got 5 comment cards that said hella spicy, burnt my mouth, that might be a chance to tone something down. But I agree. I like the Friday night, socialing. I would much rather make some stuff for a potluck or something like that. But I also have entered any Friday night one meat at any contest that I've entered that's had them, and we've had pretty good luck. I mean, we did better than ribs, I think, last year at Friday nights than we did on Saturday. So
Yeah, really.
I don't know. Maybe it's just concentrating on one meat. You can focus a little bit more than the craziness of a Saturday. But I don't know. Mixed feelings on it.
What you think, Brian?
I could spend an hour and a half talking about this. I'm not going to. I feel like the original intent of them was really good. I think there is an opportunity for them to be good. Not that they're not good. We did them at our contest. I will not, Richard. No, I will. We're not going to do a one meet this year. I kind of feel like it. I don't know. Like I had a friend, one of our buddies. He cooked a one meat and he got feedback saying it was too spicy. So the next day he went back and dialed it down a little bit and he got a 180. Okay, so there's always that. But I feel like it has become more of a points chasing thing than anything. And I think as organizers, so we're going back to my conversation last night. I think organizers need to stay away from catering to points chasers and start focusing on making a good event in general and not necessarily focusing everything on points chasing. I think the original intent was to bring in the public to cook against the pros. And that was the intent, to do a way of making it grow the sport and be a thing to help grow the sport. It quickly went away from that to having points chasers and having the backyard teams cook with the pro teams, and the backyard teams also got points for theirs, and the pros got points for theirs. I mean, you could go out, like Brad was talking last night, you could go cook all the rib burns and get team of the year points. Good, bad, and different. I don't know. Like I said, I could talk a lot about it. And it's not good or bad. It's just there. It is what it is. But I felt like it took away. I cooked one of them and I didn't like it because it took away from my Friday night experience. It took away from spending time with our barbecue friends and family. And I think that's something that has happened to barbecue that's changed a lot. And we're seeing a big change in that in the two contests that I've cooked this year. That people are trying to get back to doing things. I mean, we really push that. We are pushing that hard now. Is on Friday nights we want to do stuff. At Sip and Swine, we had a potluck. We did an ABS potluck. Teams came and did all that, which next year if we do it again, we'll do the ABS teams come and do it. But we're going to invite everybody. We had so much food there at that thing that we could have fed everybody.
Yep.
And then Friday night at Swampfest, we cooked steaks. We didn't do that, but we were with Jason and Joseph and Frank, and then it ended up being like everybody came down and started cooking and having a good time. And that's Friday night. That I feel like that's what everybody loved about barbecue when they got into it. That's what brought people into barbecue, and that's what kept people into barbecue. And I feel like it's going away a little bit. So I still think the contests need to be more friendly, to barbecue friendly, whatever, to where people can not have to be, as soon as they get there, on the go, and they can enjoy what they're doing there, enjoy the event. That's my take on it. So I'm not for or against one meat contest. I don't think I have. I think I'm neutral on them, but we will not be doing one at ours this year. We're going to add dessert. I feel like a dessert category is just as good. So we're doing dessert.
So, and I think that's a good thing. Now, I personally think that at the same time, I think in one meat categories, if they're standalone in the community, like you just have just a red competition and somebody just come out there and just do a simple one meat and you can get some judges' feedback and get some new people involved into it. I think that's where they're going to shine at.
I do too. Having a two meat contest would be incredible.
Yep.
Right, like having two one meat contests.
Oh yeah, I mean I think that would be fabulous, and I think that's what it can get to and be done. And it can be any meat you want to. More than likely, it's going to be chicken and ribs, maybe pork into it. I doubt we'll see many briskets contests like that. Now, it'd be kind of cool is just do a guinea pig brisket where you just get the ones from Walmart and just come out there and cook a brisket, one meat with just meats provided or whatever.
I think they should do pork. I mean, I can cook my pork cooks faster than my ribs anyway. So what the heck? Let's do pork.
Yeah, true. Absolutely. It's a good point right here, Miss Jody.
That was awesome.
They got Lake City contest here in 2 weeks down there in Florida. I think they got a few more spots in there. Great people run the contest. If y'all interested, hadn't seen it, sign up for the contest. I think they'll also take some people volunteers and stuff. But that's going to be a really good time, local brewery and stuff. So it'll be a lot of fun. I think it should be more family friendly. I think barbecue's going that way. I truly think that barbecue is getting back to just become family friendly and stuff in there. And we're seeing it now. I mean, we got some new teams come out this weekend, and they were just invited right into the mix of whatever to be part of it. I mean, I was kind of sitting beyond away from everybody else, and so I had some other teams around me. John was beside me, Kurt was beside me, and we had a good time having a little trailer and stuff. Speaking of which, that gets into the next thing right here. So I'm going to take it off the screen and see this big old gator right here. This was a trophy this weekend. So, Brian, tell us about this one. You got it right there.
There he is. Yeah, he's awesome. That guy's heavy. What an awesome trophy, man. I tell you what, Derek Johnson did a great job with organizing this contest and putting everything together. And he came up with some awesome trophies. I know the People's Choice trophy was a big belt, which was really cool. I love it, man. I love seeing all this unique things going on. And yes, sir, that's right, Derek. It was awesome. That thing's heavy. Golly, that thing's heavy. I was like, man, this. And of course, it downpoured as soon as awards were over. So
yeah, I was going to ask. It looked like it was raining in that photo.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, we got soaked. But other than that, that thing is so cool. What a great award.
Have you named it yet?
Yeah, well, we originally named it Winter, but I think it's become Okie.
Okie, that's pretty good.
Yeah, Okie Finoki Swamp.
That's awesome.
Hand built by myself. That's right. Derek carved it and everything. It was pretty crazy. He started a little bit of clay, and he carved it up and he made it all kind of stuff. What a cool trophy. And man, I'll tell you, that was a really fun. God, what a fun contest. I mean, even before awards, it was a great contest. People's Choice was crazy. A lot of people through there. But had a lot of food. Got rid of all my food. It was great.
That's we've been talking about what over the past couple of weeks too. What's it going to take for contests to survive and grow? And my consensus is you got to do People's Choice. Whether it's provide, the teams can provide their own, or if the organizer can afford to buy a butt or two, for per team. That's the only thing you're going to do if you don't have a festival or some kind of other event tied into that, to get the public to come out. Who's going to come to a barbecue contest and walk around and look at trailers and not be able to sample barbecue? It's.
So I hear that. Oh man, this is awesome. I hear it. I hear that, right? I hear that all the time. We have to have People's Choice, and I agree 100%, 100%. That, and it goes back to what is People's Choice actually doing? People's Choice is raising money for charity or raising money for a contest to continue to have the contest next year and everything else. But you got to do something to bring the public in. There's got to be something at a contest that's going to bring in the public. And a bunch of trailers in a parking lot is not going to bring in people to a contest.
No.
As much as we want it to, as much as we want that to happen, it's just not going to do it. And we had this conversation last night. It started from qualifiers. How many teams does it take to make a contest a qualifier? And I go out and I just 100% say it's on the organizer. The organizer has to make a good event. If there's not a good event, the public's not going to come, and teams aren't going to come. If the teams aren't coming, you don't have enough teams to make a qualifier out of it. So now you're losing teams, right? The organizers got to do something to make the event good enough to have people come and the public come. Look, I did it last year. we had 80 something teams, something like that. We had 50 vendors. The weather got bad and we had nobody show up. We had 1,000 people show up. It wasn't any good, right? So now we're really pushing People's Choice this year at our contest. We're going to do People's Choice this year. But if I don't have people show up, what the heck am I asking the teams to do to cook 2 butts and have People's Choice if there's nobody there to feed, right? So you've got to do something to get people there to do the People's Choice because it's a tough thing to. It's very in my opinion only. Let me say that it's my opinion. It's very hard for a contest to make it if it's just a contest in itself. If it's just us going into a parking lot and cooking meat and leaving, it's hard for that to make any money. I don't know how that is going to happen. You can't. You got to have 50 amp power for everybody now. You got to have water. You got to have space. You got to have all kind of things go on. Thanks, Jordan. There's just so much that it takes to put on a contest that you can't afford just to do it unless we get to the point to where it's a cash in, cash out like Rufus Teague, and Rufus Teague. Jason did a great job. Jason, you and Bob did a great job with Rufus Teague. But the way it's hard to sustain itself on just cash in, cash out. And that was my thing. You could probably say something more to that, Jason, because you did it.
Luckily, we were able to do that at campgrounds. Now, a couple things happened with the whole situation. Number one, COVID happened. Everything was shutting down. Right. So there was no competition. As far, not I say this in the sense we wasn't competing against any other contest for a contest.
Yes.
So if you wanted to cook, we was only Rufus Teague Series, the only game in town, and you went into it knowing that it was the only game in town, and it was $300 cash in, whatever was after expenses was paid out, and it was a great time. We had a blast at campgrounds. I mean, when's the last time you been to a barbecue competition with swimming pools in a place?
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot of fun and it was really good. But at the same time is you saying you're going to have a $4,000 payout compared to these contests that are established and it's got the public behind it, the town behind it is paying out $15,000.
Yeah.
I mean, just can't survive. And it can't be done that way. And that's one of the biggest hurdle for it is it just wasn't sustainable in the sense of it didn't have the money coming in because we didn't have the public into it. We didn't have all the sponsors coming into it. Rufus Teague was part of it, but you didn't have all these sponsors that could bring up the money. Like a lady was saying before, there was no reason to get local sponsors because they wouldn't get no advertising money.
Uh-huh.
And I tell this all the time when people want to start contests. Number one thing to do is find a successful contest and go to that person and pick their brain and walk around and understand what's going on to make that contest successful. If you do that, then you're number one, you're leaps ahead above anybody else. Number two is find out what you're raising money for. If you want to have brand awareness and you want to get this product known out there and let everybody know what this product is, the barbecue competition is absolutely amazing because it can get that brand awareness for you.
Uh-huh.
If you're trying to raise a ton of money, then the barbecue side of the contest is going to be really hard to raise a lot of money. That's going to be the sponsor side of it. So you can work the two together, but you're not going to do it in 1 year. It's going to take 5 years to grow that contest, to grow that brand, to get that sponsor behind you, and then you can start raising money for that. And trust me, I've been there, done that, drank the Kool-Aid. This part of it, I truly is the way it works. And once you do that, once you start getting that, now all of a sudden this ain't come on cruise control. Then you'll start having a contest like Greenwood, start Sipping Swine. You start having these contests that are able to come out there and get everybody coming to us and say, hey, can I be a sponsor? not knock on the door. Will you be a sponsor? When that situation changes, man, you have opened up the floodgates. You can do all kinds of stuff. But one thing you have to know is this: if you don't tell nobody you have a contest, nobody knows you have a contest.
Yep.
If nobody knows you have a contest, nobody's gonna show up you have a contest.
Yep.
You have to communicate across the entire board. We kind of got a little rant there. Sorry.
No, you're hitting nail on the head. I mean, first thing I did was call Jim Lloyd. I know Jim. We're friends. Sipping Swine. I said, Jim, I want to do something similar. I know I can't, but I want to raise a lot of money for somebody, for charity. And we had that's our goal. Our mission for a contest is to raise money for and make money for a charity, to be able to give back, to let barbecue help give back to what's been such a passion for ours. So that's our whole thing is what you do. I mean, it's got to be something that you have a passion for and everything else. And you hit the nail on the head. All that, everything you just said is 100% true. And I can tell you that in our short time of doing this, it's a year-long process. I mean, it's something that you deal with all the time. I mean, we're emailing back and forth right now with our charity. We're doing Meals by Grace this year. It's a different charity that's local to the community. Last year, our charity was in Athens, and we were doing a contest on the other side of the state, so it didn't really add up. This year, we've gotten smarter, and we're like, hey, we know somebody that's part of this organization, and we're wanting to give back to them, and they're on board. They're jumping on board. And the thing that people don't realize about Sippin' Swine and Jim is the House of Hope is just as involved in that event as Jim and his team. You got people that are backing it and wanting it to be successful because they're the ones that are benefiting from it. Like they're putting in, and for us this year, we've got a whole, like these they're part of our village now, they said, right? Like we're all jumping in this thing together to make it be as big as possible but once again, I'm not doing it so that I can have the biggest contest in the world, right? If the contest gets big, great. That's just more money that we can give back to our charity. And it's more money that I can give back to the cook teams, right? It's more money that we can do with and give back to the barbecue side of things, and also give back to the charity. And then, we get the Jordans coming down and cooking. We get the Brian Paytons, and we get the Bill Hands, and we get the Brads, and all these guys coming from around the country being like, hey, I want to be a part of this thing, But it has to start with your local. I had this conversation today with Wes Garrett. You got to be able to get your local teams to come cook it before you can worry about points chasers coming to cook a contest. If you can't win your local guys, you're not going to win the points chasers to come to it.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. Win the locals, and then you'll be able to have enough for a contest to make it a qualifier, and then you're golden. But as an organizer, my goal is not to organize an event as a qualifier. My goal as an organizer is to make the best event possible for everybody involved.
Good goals.
Doing what Waycross did, Jason and Derek and all doing this weekend, as far as putting a bar contest onto an existing established contest and make it bigger. That's you're taking a wouldn't say a shortcut, because it's not technically a shortcut, but you've got an easier path to success by doing that.
100%.
You can do that together and work as a marriage, and then all of a sudden you can go leaps and bounds, grow and stuff. That's some awesome things. Before we go any further, though, we've got to recognize something other. If I'm not mistaken, I was looking at KCBS today, and Carrie's in the points league.
Carrie?
Oh, really?
If I'm not badly mistaken here, I think Mr. Carey is in the top of the game right now.
Oh, yeah. Look.
So congratulations, Mr. Carey.
Tied with Colorado Bulldog Barbecue.
Levi Stokes was on here also earlier. I don't know if he still is, but he's Colorado Bulldog. And, they're Carey's killing it, man. He's on the verge of it, man. He's going to keep going, and he's going to
it might be. I'm not saying it ain't. I'm just saying, smile and be happy you're there.
Enjoy it for the week. Might be longer. Enjoy it. It's awesome.
Got Mr. 180 Chicken over here, Brian.
There he
Rusty.
is. What's up, Rusty? How you doing, bud?
But I mean, I think that's a great thing about it here, and I know we kind of got a little talking in the organizer side of it. And for those that's not competition barbecue and out there just doing it, just make sure you go sign up to be a judge. Go out there and just judge a contest, or go out there and volunteer, or put together a little contest backyard. And we are doing sanctioned barbecue. I get that's what we're talking about, but there's nothing saying you can't get a group of guys together and have a cook off there at the house and just have a good time. You start doing that and start doing that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So we're doing a sanctioned contest, and all of us are sanctioning guys, and that's what we're doing. But everybody doesn't have to do that. You can go out there and just do a neighborhood barbecue competition and just enjoy it, and you'll grow from there. So just go out there and make it happen. That's the biggest thing about that.
Well, if you come out, I mean, if you watch Jason's shows on YouTube or his videos that he does all the time and the things he's cooking, if you just follow what he's doing, you're going to go and be the best cook in your neighborhood, right? I mean, I tell people all the time, just try to go win your cul-de-sac. Be the best cook in your cul-de-sac. Be the best cook in your neighborhood. Be the best cook around that people want to come to your house and eat your food, right? Like, and if you watch what some of these guys do, they're such good cooks, and just listen. You don't have to do everything that they're doing, but if you do some of the things that they're doing, you're going to have some of the best food around. I mean, I ran into a guy this afternoon at a barber shop, not for me, I don't have any hair, but for my kids. And he was like, I'm going to cater barbecue for this grand opening event. All this, he goes, you told me that if you just cook good food, people are going to like it. And he did. It's amazing. Like, so he's out there now going to UGA tailgate events, and people love his barbecue. It's like, just go out and win the tailgate, and just have a passion for it to go get better. I agree, Rusty. They're fun to watch.
Speaking of which, so everybody's watched the rib video and the pork video I just put out. That's that recipe I used this weekend. It got 7th in ribs and 10th in pork. They should have got higher in pork, but exactly the thing I done in videos is what I put out there. And I plan with the chicken when I'll probably put out a little while later.
I need to go watch a pork video.
Yeah, right. You won the contest this weekend. But please watch it.
Please watch out. I mean, you can't ever stop learning. You can't ever stop learning. You can't ever stop getting things. There's, I mean, cooking with Robert at Sippin' Swine, chewing the barbecue fat. When we cooked together, I'm cooking brisket. My thing was brisket. He's like, why didn't you do this? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't know I was supposed to do that thing. And I did that this weekend and it paid off, right? We got a 180 in brisket, and it did make it a little bit different. It made it a little bit better. But it's like, you can't ever stop learning. You can't ever stop. If you ever think you're good enough that you can't keep learning, then you are going to get past really, really quick this day and time. I mean, because everybody's really good in barbecue right now.
Oh, yeah. Just we're having a good time. Speaking of which, how many contests you done this year so far?
I've done two contests.
How many GCs have you got this year?
Well, we've got two. And one of those, I did cook with one. I mean, it was probably one of the best experiences we've had in barbecue. We cooked as chewing the barbecue fat with Smoke Me Silly. Robert and Lex, great people, great friends of ours. Y'all know he's like a mentor to me. He's been barbecue, whatever. And Jason, you mentioned this a year or two ago. Go out, find somebody to cook with and have a good time again. And it will renew your passion for barbecue again, because it takes away all of the pressure, all of the competitiveness and everything else. And it just brings you back to doing what you love. And that's cooking barbecue. We all do this because we love cooking it. Right. And we were, Robert and I both, man, it was like we went into that bad boy with zero expectations, none. I mean, my expectation was Robert's going to go do awesome and I'm going to screw it up. And I just knew that was going to happen. And he got 2 calls early, and I just like sank, And I'm sure y'all have all heard me say this. He got the 2 calls and chicken and ribs, and then pork rolls around. And John Hale, when he does awards, he calls 10 through 2. And I didn't get a chicken. I didn't get a pork call. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, I've let him down. Now, this is my nightmare that he's going to get his 2 calls, and here I am going to blow it. Well, I was fortunate enough to get a 180 in pork that day, and then we ended up getting a brisket call also. So, I mean, it was just that was a incredible experience. And then to back that up, this weekend with Jimmy not being there, it was just me, Ellen, and the kids. Awesome time. We drove down. We took the kids out of school on Friday. Drove down Thursday afternoon after school. Got down there, had a great time, and man, I'm telling you, Ellen missed my 180 brisket call at the Royal. She missed my first grand at Sip and Swine back in the 1900s or whenever that was. I won my first grand. In 19, she wasn't there for that. So she had missed pretty much all my big calls, all my big things in barbecue. So for the 2 of us to be there together was pretty cool. I mean, we missed Jimmy. Like Jimmy, she's like, he's got to hurry up and get back because you're killing me. But it was one of those deals where it was really cool for the 2 of us to be able to sit back, and it just made it special, right? She was there. We got a 705. Never got a 700 on my own. Never. I mean, it was really it was really cool. It was really a special time for us. I mean, it was really yeah. Whatever, Kerry.
Oh, that's funny.
You're killing it.
So your first 180 was at the American Royal.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
Yeah, and all my buddies give me a hard time. We're friends with a lot of we sponsor a lot of really good teams. You know about it, and and my kids get 180s all the time, right? My older kid, Cole, he won the American Royal the night before, and with a 180, with a perfect 180. I get a text from Paul Keltner, man. One of these days, Brian, you're going to be as good as your kid and your wife. Ellen, the first time she goes out and cooks dessert, she gets a 180. I'm like, everybody in my family has 180s, and I can't buy one. Like, there's not a chance. And, man, I tell you what, getting that – because, once again, I was sitting right there with Robert and Wes at the American Royal, and, we didn't get a call. Nothing's going on. I was like, man, it's just – Jimmy, we got a 16-hour drive. Let's get going. And I was like, no. I'm going to get third. Wes, you're going to get second. Robert, you're going to win brisket. And, man, as soon as I said that, they call out with a 180 Atlanta barbecue store. And, I mean, I'm just, like, floored. I couldn't. I mean, that was amazing. First 180 at the American Royal, get to go up on stage. I was just sitting there. I was like, man, both of my kids, because the year before, Micah got third place and Kids Q, and he was up on stage. I was like, man, both of my kids now have been up on stage on this thing. Am I ever going to make it on the stage at the American Royal? Like, to me, that was just like, that's big time. We got a call. Earlier in the invitation, we got a 20-something chicken, or we got a chicken call. And the year before, we got 11th place pork. So, I mean, we got calls, which is absolutely amazing. That's amazing. Just getting a call at the American Royal, amazing. But getting up on stage, I was like, man, that would be incredible. And then to get a 180 and get up on stage at the American Royal, unbelievable. And doing it with all my friends there and then seeing all my buddies, it was just absolutely incredible. And then we go cook a contest and we do okay. And then the next contest we win, and the next contest we win with 180s, and both of those 2 contests. It's just, I mean, it's like a dream right now. Like, past 4 contests, I've got 3 180s, never gotten one before, and I've won 2 contests. I mean, I don't know. It's absolutely
700s and 700
and 700s. Yeah.
I mean,
and in that, Robert is, I mean, awesome. But I'm like, I got a lot of points for our team in that 700. I was like, hey, look at there. I actually did contribute.
So one other thing I'll kind of bring up here is one of the things that Brian does, and he's done it for 2 years in a row, if I'm not mistaken, is Atlanta Barbecue Store had a class that they have out there, and they bring people in from different areas as far as done very well, and they teach different categories. So it's not the same team teaching all four categories. It's a different team teaching all categories. Plus, this year had port rolling, which is a GBC. So anybody that's looking on there for next year, you plan on doing it next year, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, the people that he is taking information from, that's kind of he's been talking about Robert stuff, cooked this one this past year and done it. So make sure you go over yonder and you check that out. He has some posts on there. It's one of the best values of a class you'll ever get. So that's another. Even if you don't do competition barbecue and you'll get an idea behind what competition barbecue is, and just see what it is, because what we show you, what I show you in the videos I've got, what I show you in the classes I've got, you can take this information and then work it with other recipes, other meat proteins, and it'll help you become a better cook across the whole. Because one thing we always say in the game is barbecue is a tenderness game. Tenderness game first, then flavor second, and appearance is a distant third. And that's what I truly believe in that. So it's a tenderness game. But
and if you want to join this class, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. This class sells out really, really, really fast. It sold out in 12 hours last year. If it's something that you want to do, I'd highly recommend it. Just saying, I get the best of the best in the country to cook these, to teach these classes, and they only cook one category. And there's not, we've got great people. We have great people that we sponsor. We have great people. They will help you in any way possible. They're going to help you if they're cooking ribs and you have a brisket question when something's going on with brisket, because they might cook on your kind of smoker. They're answering the questions. But anyway, you have to watch Chewing the Barbecue Fat on Monday nights if you want to get in on this show, because that's generally when I announce it, and it's generally going the next morning. But anyway, that class is always in January. We're going to do it again. There's actually some talks about having another class in another part of the country, but that's just nobody knows anything about that. That I probably shouldn't have said that, but that's something that we're working on. So that's going to be another thing that we're working on. So anyway, that's going to be really cool. I'm hoping that happens, and all that money goes straight to our contest, right? So that money is part of. We take that money, and it is for our payout for our contest and everything we can do to make our contest better. So it's all going back to charity. All these guys come in and they teach it. They don't get any money out of it. They get a hotel room and they get dinner. But that's just how awesome these guys are. And I mean, it's an honor to Ellen and I that people are willing to do that for us. And I mean, we've had some really good teams coming teach this class. So we've been blessed. And the lineup next year is going to be good again. And I'm going to try to bring in some different things. And my goal is not to have, like Robert the first year did chicken and the next year he did brisket. So like the goal is to not cook the same thing. And I don't even know if Robert's going to do it next year. Who knows? We'll see. He will be a part of it in some way, fashion, form, because Robert's just my buddy, but he'll take care of me in any way. But it's one of those things that we're trying to. I mean, I think I've already got the lineup set for next year, but I'm not going to get into all that. But it's going to be another class that you're going to want to take, and it's kind of funny. The first year wasn't a lot of big name teams coming. Last year there were more big name teams coming, and I have a feeling next year there's more and more people are coming to take this class. But thank you for talking about that. I mean, our goal, and I'm sorry for talking so much. I just talk too much.
You're all good.
But our goal for barbecue at Ellen and I with the Atlanta Barbecue Store is, we're doing a contest now. And that's something that we're doing that contest so we can give back to the community, because barbecue's been so good to us. We're doing the class. We do the the Facebook, YouTube show. And we don't get to cook much. but it's something, a passion of ours that I don't want to get rid of barbecue. I mean, I'm at a baseball field more than I'm at a barbecue contest with my kids, and I'm not going to change that for anything. You know, my kids, that it's something that they grow up fast, and I'm seeing this, and it's like I've got it. I'm going to do what I'm going to do with them, and then I still have barbecue. We still have the Chewing the Barbecue Fat Show. We still have the contests that we're putting on, and what's cool about that is my kids, as much as they love baseball and everything else, they love cooking. And we've taken it a step further where Cole and Micah want to be a part of the event, and they take over the Kids Q event of this thing. Right, that's their thing. They're up on stage talking about it and doing everything. It's really cool. So we're hoping that we can give back to barbecue in any way, because barbecue's been so good to us. We want to be able to give back to everybody in barbecue.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it is, and even if you don't take the class, if y'all come out there and you want to get into barbecue or whatever, talk to teams. I'll be more than happy to help you out. I mean, tell you information out there to help you, at least point you in a direction, because we want you turning good food. I mean, that's the crazy thing about this sport. We're a family, and I want you to succeed, because the fact of the matter is, if you don't turn in good food, you hit my table, it's going to hurt me. And so I want you turning good food, and I want you to do better. I still want to beat you, but I still want you to do better. I mean, and that's across the board. So I think if you come out there and you be part of this, you'll be surprised of the relationships that you can just grow and build upon that on there. And the same time is, y'all been on the show, I mean, for almost a year now. Isn't that right, Justin? 8 months, I think.
Yeah, it's been over almost a year.
So we've been on doing a show and met some amazing people. That Brian's show's been on there longer than ours. And again, we want y'all to come out there and feel like y'all part of the show, part of the family, part of the barbecue family. So don't be afraid to come out there and at least let us know who you are. The only thing we'll ask you is, from 10 till about 1:30, give us time, or go talk to Brian Jarvis. He'll be happy to answer any questions.
Talk to me about drums. That seemed to be that was the thing this weekend. I mean, it was hilarious. There was a judge come up to me
for drums.
Do what?
I say come with cash money to Brian's trailer for drums.
No, I had a judge come up to me talking to me. Literally, I'm trying to wrap ribs, and the guy's talking to me about the sauce that he made up. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Can we talk about it later? Like, I mean, it was fun. But you know what? You can't not talk to him, right? You can't not be a part of it. But you've got to also do your thing as you're going along. But you talk about a guy that is leading the point, he's number one in the world right now. Kerry, I mean, I don't know if there's a contest that goes by that Kerry doesn't even have a judge with him or somebody else cooking with him. And that is when the Greenwood, Richard, that is when that's what's awesome is he's out there either with a judge. Like this weekend, he had another guy. Man, that was awesome. You want to talk about? I'm sorry, that post you just put it there. But I don't even know what I was talking about. But let's go back to Derek Johnson. All right, Derek Johnson. You talk about a guy who 3 years ago in November at a contest. I mean, he's parked right next to us, and very brand new, never done anything. Comes up, cooks it. Rents a grill, Bubba Grills, cooking out of his truck, like, man, and it just didn't know what was going on, like everybody else.
Or just ate it.
He comes in and he's got his sauce, and I was like, dude, that sauce is really good, but it's not going to score. It was a mustard sauce or something along those lines. I was like, really good, and I know you made it. But I hate to be this guy. Don't take this the wrong way. It's not going to score. It's not going to score here. So I had some yes dear sauce. I was like, put this sauce on everything. It's a good sauce, a base sauce that you can put on anything and everything. You can buy it at Atlanta Barbecue Store. Put that on anything, and it's going to score. And he did. And then we got to chicken. Oh man, poor guy. We got to chicken. He's like, all right, I got to put my chicken on. And he starts opening up the chicken out of the bag, out of the cryo. I was like, so you haven't trimmed it yet? He's like, no, do I need it? I was just going to throw it in there. I was like, oh, no.
Oh, boy.
I was like, do this. When I had a friend there, I was like, go trim the meat. Well, he didn't know what he was doing either. Go trim that for him. Let's get this going. And you talk about, I mean, a guy, he ended up reserving it. I think he reserved it or granted the contest. I mean, the dude has taken off in the barbecue world. He went from reserving that backyard contest to saying, screw a backyard. There's not, and not screw backyard. There's not enough contest for me to cook if I'm going to be a backyard guy. So there's only, I'm sorry, getting orders. Probably yesterday. But he's probably, but he said, I want to cook again. And if I'm going to cook again, I've got to go pro. So he cooked again and just cooked and cooked and cooked. And he got so good. He's winning. I mean, last year he was dominating GBC. And then it fell off a little bit. He had a lot of stuff going on. But not only is that, he's on the board for GBC. He's the organizer now in Georgia. He's putting on contests everywhere in Georgia. And I mean, and he's killing it. I mean, you talk about a guy that had a passion for barbecue out of nowhere, like you're talking about, just come and see it. He just came. He asked me a couple questions, and I was like, you know what? I want this guy to do well. I don't care. And not that I did anything, but we helped him and we got him through that. And man, I tell you what, I was so excited for him. I was like, that's our neighbor. That's Derek. He just reserved this bad boy.
That's awesome.
And then, and like you talk about a story that's in barbecue that is great. Sweet Dixie Barbecue, man. That guy he's on fire. He's an incredible cook, an incredible organizer. I mean, just has a passion for barbecue that is incredible. And I love to see that, because this is the guy, Jason, as you're talking about, 3 years ago, wasn't even in barbecue. Right. And now he's the guy that people are calling saying, hey, can you put on an event for us? And a very successful event. You never know. You never know who's going to be next to you at a contest.
No, and that's the thing about it, man. If we want to, we'll help anybody in the world out. That's what happens. I'll go a step further with that today. And I'm not saying just because of our YouTube channel, but I was going to say that step further than that. There is so much information out there right now on YouTube that wasn't there when we started the contest. When I started competing in barbecue, would trimming chicken. Malcolm Reed done the first video I seen on trimming chicken years ago. And I remember I took a Donnie Bray's Warren County Choppers class, went up to him and said, man, and your chicken recipe opened my eyes, because he was showing how to trim chicken. That's all he showed in the video. And that was just an eye-opener about, holy crap, this is what we do with chicken. So the information out there today is so much more information out there. But take it with a grain of salt now. So something out there is not necessarily to say that it will work. So make sure you take it and practice it. But there's a lot more information out there that's going to help you get 5 years of information. It took me 5 years to get to it. Just go up there and just try and make it your own and go with it. Same thing you do with classes. You can take a class from somebody and they'll give you information they're doing it, but you still got to make it your own. You still got to understand your add to your smoker, the temperature of your refrigerator, temperature of your cooler. I mean, trying to get scientific, but all that matters. Because if you ain't got everything consistent and all of a sudden you've got a wild card going up and down, you just pull your hair out your head. A little bit you got left. I mean, it'll drive you nuts. But again, that's from somebody here. The kid, of course, is not the 2-time back-to-back GC telling you this. So.
I mean,
Brian need to teach pork.
Nobody wants my pork. Nobody wants my pork. My pork is
180. But anyhow, but the whole thing I want everybody to take from the show right here, and I'm glad we had a great guest tonight and stuff, is that this is a passion we have about barbecue. We always ask the question, what does barbecue mean and what does it represent for you? You've heard us tell stories about this. This is what it means to us. It's a passion we have for fellowship. It's a passion we have for getting together. It's a passion we have for competition, because we're still personalities and want to beat each other to death in barbecue. And we're doing it. And we had a great time doing it, and you'll meet the best people you've ever met in your life. That's God's honest truth with that. Come out there and do contests. So where y'all meeting that next? Sorry, go ahead.
You talk about meeting good people. I mean, there's probably 15 people I can go through my phone right now, and if I need anything and I'm anywhere, I can just call them and they're gonna, it's amazing. Barbecue people are just great people. And it's not just barbecue. It's not just competition barbecue. I mean, you get involved with, Ryan Lanes with Lane's Barbecue is right here and near me. I mean, I'm friends with him, and it's, um, and it's just really cool, like seeing how everybody gets together and does things. Um, but I mean, it's really kind of it's barbecue is just a great thing to be a part of. Don't bring a different smoker every week. Yeah, well, I can't say that. I do that. Do you have a different type of smoker, Justin?
No, that's I had to joke with Rusty that every time I see him, he's upgraded to something new. And truth to be told, the last time I saw him, he had added a drum. So, and he gets better every contest. It seems like, man, he's totally stepping up. But yeah, there for a while, it was a Jambo, or I think what else did he show up? Just something new every contest.
Yeah. Great guys, and everybody out there is really, truly met some amazing people through barbecue, all over the country. And I think that's something that everybody would say. We're doing it. All that being stated, where y'all cooking at next?
I've got a little break because we're going to Disney at the end of this week, so my wallet needs to cool off a little bit. And end of April, we'll be in Pinehurst, smoking at the Pines.
Yep.
Actually, we've got 4 weekends in a row starting that weekend. After that, we got Jiggy and SCA contest out in eastern North Carolina, and then Ayton.
Man, back to back was there.
Yeah, my wife's going to kill me. Hopefully she didn't hear that because I don't think I've told her.
Mine is Greenwood, South Carolina.
Oh, wow. That's a good ways off.
Yep. Dude. Nothing like going out and winning a couple contests and feeling like
just retiring, semi-retiring.
Know what you're doing, and then be like, oh, well, it'll be July before I get to cook again. Yeah. But, I mean, it's – all right, so it's going to be awesome, though, because, I mean, I get the pleasure, get to have – I cannot wait till Greenwood because we're cooking us chewing the barbecue fat again. So Robert and I will be cooking Greenwood together. It's gonna be awesome. And then after that, it could possibly be the Royal. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to cook again. But I knew that going into the year. I mean, I knew y'all all heard me say I don't get to cook very often. I wish I did. I wish I could cook more. But I feel like I might be a decent cook if I was able to cook more, but we don't get to cook a lot. So, we'll go back to Greenwood. Hopefully we will have a good contest and then go from there. But
awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great contest. I don't know if Robert's ever done a contest, has he?
Yeah, he cooked Greenwood. He cooked it last year or the year. Yeah, he's cooked it.
Last year, that's right.
But I know it's. I mean, I'm telling you, man, we had a good time, and we had a good time before we won the contest, right? Like, it was fun. It was just being able to relax and go and have a good time and hang out with your friends. Because, as you said, I mean, yes, we're all type A. We want to win, but there is something about just going and hanging out and having a good time with all your friends, and not having to worry about anything, and just go and having a good time. There's something about that and our friends with the trio going down to Apopka, Jason and Frank and Joseph going down there, and they said the same thing. They're like, man, we went down there, had an absolute blast, had no expectations, and they didn't say this, but they smoked everybody at that contest, right? Like, they went down there and said, they're like, we had the most fun doing that, and it was a blast. So if there's anything I could tell you, if you have enough opportunities to do this and you're not chasing points and you're not getting caught up in that, if you're chasing points, don't do it, because you got to have every weekend. Mm-hmm. Every weekend you need it, because, I mean, it's going to get down to October and it's going to come down to the last contest and somebody's chasing something, right? Like, so you have to have every point you can get. I get it. But if you're not chasing points, which the majority of us are not chasing points, take a weekend and just be like, you know what? Let's go have a good time. Let's go have fun. But that's
what I've done this past weekend. I cooked everything I cooked this weekend was a completely different recipe than I've ever cooked before. I in my mind said I actually cooked wings. I was gonna turn wings in, but I had Judge cooking with me, and she was like, No. So we turned in thighs. If I'd known I got 21st chicken, got my tail kick chicken, I would have turned in wings, but whatever.
You're seeing a lot of thighs and wing boxes these days.
I know. And so I was just wanting to try something totally different. Everything I cooked this weekend was completely different recipes, completely different, because I wanted to see what it would do. And I learned a lot from it. And I've seen some things have done it. Where I was set up at, that wind was cutting through that alley. And it was driving one of my drums absolutely nuts. The other ones wasn't bad, but that one was just going crazy. But that's again, I knew it going into it. I could have put a windscreen up and would have solved the problem, but I was too hard headed. But again, just go out there and just try something other than just get a group of guys together, and do a contest together, and just enjoy it. Or again, cook in your backyard in cul-de-sac and just enjoy it. That's the whole purpose about barbecue is. All of us have stories we share on the show right here about how we come up through cooking, hunting clubs, fishing camps. I'm going to Florida this weekend. My dad fishing in Florida, and I'll be cooking down there with him and stuff. We've all done that because we got around the fire, got around to cooking, and just shared stories. I mean, the best stories I ever remember was at the hunt club cabin. All them old timers telling me stories. I know half of them probably lies, but hell, they're good stories. We had a good time doing it.
They just said their stories.
Yeah, that's like fish. And unless it's that long, it ain't a true fish.
Yeah.
That's the way it works, ain't it? But y'all, we've had a great show tonight. And again, thank y'all for watching. Again, all this right here this is the Barbecue Roundtable. Appreciate y'all watching. Check out Brian's Chewing the Barbecue Fat on Monday nights. All of our information that we've got here, you can see it on YouTube Music Podcast. We've got great sponsors and stuff brought into it. Brian, you want to mention your sponsor?
Land Barbecue Store. Heck of a sponsor. They're great people. The lady that runs that thing, she's awesome. I'll just take it easy on her. But no, we are very blessed. Thank y'all. We have some of the best customers. And I know you have a lot of good viewers on your show, and we feel like we do the same with ours. And it's just a great opportunity, man. Just go out there and push barbecue as much as possible, and tell your friends that aren't even in competition or whatever. Just get them interested in cooking barbecue and have fun with it. I mean, but yeah, other sponsors I have are that's about it.
Recteq, ain't it?
Well, we love Recteq. I don't think we're sponsored by them, but we push Recteq. We love them. They are definitely, if you talk about somebody that's a friend of Atlanta Barbecue Store, Recteq 100% is a friend of Atlanta Barbecue Store. I mean, I'd say we kind of partner with them more than sponsor. If you go to their academies or any of that kind of stuff, you'll see Atlanta Barbecue Store plastered all over the place. We love Recteq, and we feel like they feel the same about us. So good people.
Absolutely. Just about you.
Yeah, Steak Princess Barbecue and Deadbird Barbecue DB180, both sponsors of ours this year. And then also we're always hooked up with local honey sponsor, Herb's Honey, who makes awesome products.
You can get all that but the honey at Atlanta Barbecue Store.
Absolutely correct.
Maybe I should pick you guys up. I should. They're local. They sell in a lot of grocery stores, and they're starting to spread out. And they sell regular honey, like 6 different varieties, and they've started making like flavored whipped honey. So they've got a jalapeno one and a sriracha one, which I sampled for the first time today, and it about blew my socks off. It was damn hot, and yeah, they're a good company. The guy actually used to compete in barbecue like 12 years ago, so he knows how it is.
I think we need a good maple syrup sponsor.
That would be a good one. I need a aluminum foil sponsor.
Yep, me too. And aluminum pan sponsor.
Just get pan liners and reuse them.
That's what I've heard. I took a class this year that somebody mentioned something about. I don't know, it was by Atlanta Barbecue Store. Y'all might have heard of them, but something about pan liners, and I was like, hey, yeah, that's a pretty good idea, actually.
Safe space trash can.
Actually, I probably had speaking of that, I probably had the weirdest Amazon order of anybody that has ever ordered anything on Amazon after that class. Just the most random selection of stuff. I was like, I am screwing their algorithm up so bad they can't tell what in the world I'm into.
That's some weird stuff.
Hand liners and big tweezers and soda and yeah.
Crazy. Listen, we've got some sponsors here. Recteq. We got a Royal Oak Charcoal, Leonard Barbecue Store, and Heath Riles. All this stuff is down below. Again, make sure you check out Leonard Barbecue Store. All your barbecue needs. They got good products. Everything we use, you can get from them. I thank y'all for watching. See you next Tuesday. Don't forget to check out Chewing Barbecue Fat on Monday nights. See y'all.
Y'all have a good one.